Welcome, gentlemen. My name is Paul Robson. I am the founder of Manifesto and the organizer of the European Men's Gathering. And this is an encouragement to find your voice as an online creator instead of being a passive consumer. And it's going to be a concrete invitation of a place where you can start doing that and practice doing it in a community of men. So I often get into conversations about technology and how it impacts our life. And of course, the internet is an amazing and beautiful and wonderful thing that can help us to get all kinds of information about any kind of area that you're interested in. We can have conversations with people across the world. And it's really revolutionized our society in so many ways. And at the same time, the internet is a massive danger, and there's a lot of problems right now with what I would call the zombification of our society, of people sitting, and this, especially the worst parts of it is like the endless scrolling through social media content of meaningless information that's just filling up our lives and ticking off these little dopamine centers in the brain. But not really getting us anywhere, and just making us kind of like in this massive big groupthink of increasing delusion and disconnection from reality. And so one of the things that I think is a great medicine for this is to take a step towards becoming a creator instead of being a consumer. And to do this, you need, I would say, to find a source of inspiration, a foundation, and a contact to your own heart that's offline and not just from reading or whatever it is that's coming up on your social media feed. Of course, there's a lot of great content and articles and all kinds of stuff, blogs, podcasts, and things like that are coming up. But if you want to really be a contributor to creating meaningful content online, I would really say that you need to find a source that's outside of that kind of whole internet sphere and bubble. I just spent this morning reading a very, very old text from a bishop of Constantinople on the 5th century, a guy called St. John Chrysostomos, who is analyzing a text, which is a very strange text, where Jesus Christ gets approached by a foreign woman, and first of all just ignores her, and then afterwards calls her a dog. And John Chrysostomos explains how this kind of connects us to a deeper understanding of the nature of reality, actually, and helps us to understand how Christ was actually doing this to glorify this woman even more. So fascinating stuff. It's a part of my studies. I'm studying a structured program of theology with the Orthodox Christian Seminary over in Jordanville in the United States, Holy Trinity. And that's a place where I just kind of connect to some very, very deep and ancient ideas that have formed our society. And many of them were just starting to come up to the surface and be formulated in kind of rational, intellectual thinking at that time when a lot of the texts were written that I'm busy studying in that text. So it's just an example of where I'm getting inspiration from to be able to then put out a unique perspective online and try and do it. And I'm by far not the greatest person at doing this, but I really do believe that the kind of conversations that we're having here on Manifesto seem to be really impacting people's lives in a meaningful way and helping them to move in a positive direction, as opposed to, a lot of the place where you can see just kind of, what goes for the world for influencers today online. Sometimes it's just this kind of regurgitating of a pointless, meaningless, time-passing or even time-wasting industry of taking up people's attentions on something that doesn't really give anything. So I promised a concrete opportunity to be able to engage with some of these ideas. In Manifesto, we have just initiated a couple of months ago a review of our 10 principles which guide all of our work. We finished the first point, which was Know Thyself, which is about contemplation, meditation. I spoke to a broad range of people, some really big thinkers, and a lot of people in our community engaged. It was a really good conversation. I think it's led to a really good result as well. The next part is going to be about sexual mastery. That's point number 2 on our principles. And we're really looking at sexual mastery as a perspective larger than just looking at like tips and tricks of how to please a woman and seduce people or something like that. That's not really what we're interested in, but we're looking at sexuality as an integrated part of a human life, and that libido and drive and how that can be harnessed and used to create purpose and meaning and to be able to contribute to something larger than oneself. yourself and how to harness that thing and to put it to good use without, destroying your soul or cutting yourself off from your own life source energy. So being able to integrate every single part of a human being, and especially using our sexuality in a productive way, where you can see for many people today, there's a confusion about sexuality that's probably led to what I would call a state of sexual slavery to those impulses for sexual gratification or immediate gratification, where people aren't actually in control of their own lives anymore, but are driven by conscious or unconscious need for sexual neediness as well. So how do we harness that? Use it as a powerful director. Doing that in community, I think, is really important. Considering your relationships with other human beings is also important. These are some of the aspects that we're going to be talking about. We really like to hear stories and input, reflections from a broad range of people. All of us have experience that we can relate. We're going into a new time right now. Society has completely changed as far as this, the whole relationships and sexuality landscape is concerned. So how do we handle this new time? What are the things that we're using? What are the tools? What are the structures? What are the practices that we can employ in order to create that structure in our life that's helping us to move forward in a good direction? So hope you would like to join us. We're really looking for as many people as possible to engage. The next roundtable discussion is going to be on the 15th of November at 4 p.m. Central European time. So I hope that a lot of people have time and are up for joining that. We have just normal members of our community who are going to be getting up and telling their story and sharing their experiences. And we're looking for as many people as possible to engage on the discussion. We also have a Google group mailing list. I'll put the link into the video description here, where you can also join in and discuss in there. So thanks very much. And yeah, that's your opportunity to move from being a passive, zombified consumer of online information to becoming a co-creator and putting yourself out there. It takes courage, it takes determination, but it's something that will form and shape you in a way that you'll really, really appreciate when you start embarking on that journey. Thanks.